Hello, ladies. It's Kira Lourie, and we are here in the middle of all this holiday chaos on top of everything else. And I'm here with my dear friend, Margie Bissinger, who is a bone health expert. And as you all know, and you're all familiar, that when you're going through breast cancer treatment, one of the concerns during and after is the health of your bones. Many of the breast cancer treatments do create a predisposition or actual create osteoporosis and bone health problems, especially aromatase inhibitors and the tamoxifen, which block the estrogen. It's one of the main side effects that we need to be aware of with breast cancer treatment. So Margie has several online programs, and she's written a course, and she's here to share her expertise. So thank you so much for being with us, Margie. Really happy to have you.
Oh, thank you, Carol. I'm so excited to be with your group.
So let's just start at the beginning. Let's just define osteoporosis. I think we need to start with that. I mean, let's start with 101 and go up.
Absolutely. So osteoporosis, the word just means porous bones. And what it is, I don't even consider it a disease. You know, some people will say it's a disease. It's a condition where there's the architect. So there's two things that happen. You have a loss of the architecture, like the microarchitecture, how the bone links, as well as the amount of bone. And so what happens is the result is that the bone is more frail, weaker, and more likely to break.
So that's really important. So a little fall or a little bump when we were younger can lead to really big problems as we get older.
Yes. And I think the interesting thing is a lot of people think it's just the how dense the bone is, you know, like what's measured on the bone density, but it's also the quality, like what's inside that bone, how everything is interconnected, almost like weaved together. So I think that's another important part, and we have control over that, which is good.
Well, that's interesting because nobody ever talks about that. So let's start with talking about what we can control. And that I think is really important.
And that's the best news. To me, there's so much that can be controlled. And even if someone has a bone density score and it shows 2 bone density scores, one person could have a bone that's really healthy and they're eating well. So they're not going to fracture the same. So there's a lot of factors that can control it. So yes, so we can control what we eat, the food, how the nutrients we put in, the exercise, the, relaxing, lots of things we can control in terms of what affects our bones.
So let's talk about the top 3 things that women can control and about how they can impact their bones towards more positive health. And what would you suggest they are? Like you mentioned nutrition or eating at the first. What does that mean? Let's just assume people don't know.
Right. And a lot of people don't. And typically what people will hear is, okay, make sure you get calcium and vitamin D. And that's it. And that's what everybody's so worried about. But the bones, it's like an orchestra. We want all of the nutrients that are going to make strong, healthy bones. So there's so much more than just vitamin D and calcium. I mean, that's very important. What I typically see interesting is that everyone's told to take calcium, but more is not better when it comes to calcium, because people, maybe getting calcium in their diet, and then the doctor will say, oh, you need 1,200, which in the United States is what is recommended. And so then they're taking supplements on top of what they're eating, and they're getting too much. And there's been some studies, nothing's conclusive, but that this extra calcium can be going into the heart, can be going into the kidney. So we don't want more. And they always suggest if you can get as much as you can from your food, that's preferable. So yes, we want calcium, vitamin D.
Wait. We're not done with calcium yet.
Okay.
So one thing, where in our food do we get calcium? And 2, for a supplement, let's talk about the right form of calcium and the wrong form of calcium to take as a supplement. So where are we getting calcium from our food?
Okay. So everybody thinks dairy. And yes, dairy does give you calcium, but a lot of people think, oh, I'll just up my milk. But the truth is, as we know, how milk has all sorts of issues, right, and can be very inflammatory. So that's absolutely
Cow's
not.
milk and breast cancer or cancer is not a match made
Exactly.
in heaven. We do not want to focus on that,
So
ladies.
exactly. So I don't recommend that to anybody. My favorite parts are to get it from the leafy greens. So
Such as, let's
such
talk
as
about which.
collard greens.
Right.
1 cup of cooked collard greens is 268 milligrams of calcium. That's amazing.
A lot.
And you can, I like to just, if I'm making like a turkey burger or a bean burger, wrap it in the collard, which is delicious. You can make all sorts of wraps with it. So it's really tasty. Then, for example, bok choy. Bok choy is 158 milligrams, another good one. Kale. So these leafy greens have so many other nutrients as well. They have that whole orchestra. So that, I would say that's my absolute favorite. Sardines, some of the fish that have bones in them, they also have good
interesting.
calcium.
Yeah.
So the nuts. So there's a lot of ways that we can get our calcium from our food that you don't need the dairy. Sure.
Now let's talk about supplement. What is the best form of calcium for a woman who is concerned about osteoporosis, and what should she be avoiding? Because I think that's part of the problems.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like the microcrystalline. I never pronounce it right. Microhydroxycrystalline, that one.
Appetite, yes.
Yeah. That's my all-time favorite. Other people, yeah, I would say that's my favorite. The one that I would avoid, though, is there's some calcium that are antacids. So that's like calcium carbonate. And so what happens there is that it's reducing the acid in your stomach. And they found there's a huge correlation between stomach acid and osteoporosis, interestingly enough. There's one Dr. Wright looked at stomach acid in his osteoporosis patients, and he found 90% had reduced stomach acid.
So let's just call it out. That product that Margie is talking about is called Tums.
Yeah.
And they advertise, you know, if you have an upset stomach, and it's also great for your calcium bones. And it's not. You do not want to use Tums at all, period. If you have an upset stomach, we have to get to the root cause of why you have that. Are you eating too much fatty foods or processed foods, or do you need gut support? But we don't want to use Tums for any part of your healing regime.
Can I mention one other thing?
Yes, go right ahead.
A lot of people are also on the proton pump inhibitors. So that's like the Nexium, the Prilosec, you know, and again, I wouldn't go off this until you talk to your gastroenterologist, but that reduces stomach acid, and there's a huge correlation with those drugs and osteoporosis. So I think the stomach acid helps absorb the nutrients. So if you're on any of those, talk to your doctor. And just like you say, Carol, and what you advocate is get to the root cause and deal with that so that you're not taking things that are going to further exacerbate your bone health.
So I would just like to say, correct Margie a little bit, that if you talk to your gastroenterologist and they're not a functional medicine doctor, you are going to be told to, oh, there's nothing the matter, stay on the drugs. So if you're going to seek integrative care about what else can you do other than being on these purple pills or the Tums, or you need to be in relationship with a naturopath or an acupuncturist or a functional medicine osteopath or medical doctor, or someone such as myself, or do some research. There's a lot of information. Find trusted sources on the internet that you believe that they know what they're talking about, and they use references. It's science-based. It's not just a touchy-feely approach. But I think that, unfortunately, in our culture, as Margie has said, too many people are put on proton pump inhibitors and antacids. And the problem is that they're eating some god-awful kind of food, and that's what's upsetting their stomach. So we need to go to the root cause, change what you're eating, and work that way. So, exactly. Okay, so somebody has the right form of calcium, and I'm going to mention some products which I think are really good because I'm, Metagenics makes excellent Cal Appetite Bone Builder Plus, Zymogen, Designs for Health, Integrative Therapeutics, Apex International. All of those biotics companies are companies which I utilize, and they make their products to pharmaceutical quality standards. So you know you're getting the best item for your body and for your expense account.
And I think the key thing is to not to just see how much you're getting from food and calculate that out, and only supplement if you're not getting enough. Because again, so it's the combination of the calcium plus the supplements. You definitely don't want it to go beyond 1200.
Well, yeah, maybe up to 15. But the point is, it takes a lot of collard greens, eating that every day, to get up to 12 to 1500 milligrams. So I think people are going to need to supplement. And then, so we have the calcium for the supplementation, but what about iproflavone? Let's talk about what else they can do as far as supplementation is concerned.
Sure. So the calcium, there's the vitamin D. Then critical is magnesium.
Okay.
We are all so deficient in magnesium. So magnesium is very essential. Everybody should have magnesium.
And is there a form of magnesium, like the malate form or the citrate form? And how many milligrams of magnesium should
it's interesting because way back, it was a 1-to-1 ratio of calcium to magnesium. Mm-hmm. And now we don't even get close, and our soil doesn't have magnesium. So most people are actually deficient in magnesium. And then they came up with at least minimum 2-to-1 minimum. So if you're getting, 1200 calcium, 600 magnesium minimum, but you really could do a 1-to-1 ratio. A lot of the supplements now are even 1-to-1. And you can get magnesium in lots of different ways in terms of, and it depends. Now, if people have constipation, that's where the magnesium citrate is so helpful, or some product called Calm has helped a lot of people as well. And so, it depends. If your bowels are moving fine and you don't need that aspect of the magnesium, there's a couple forms. My favorite actually is magnesium glycinate. That's the one but there's several that are okay. And then the other amazing thing about magnesium is you can get it through your skin. So you can get transdermal magnesium. And I love that, especially if someone has a GI issue. If anyone has any issues in their stomach or they're not absorbing, you can soak in the magnesium. And that's really incredible. I used to think that you could soak in the what is it called? But it's very comfortable that we lay in. I'm having
Epsom salt.
Epsom salt, yes, and that's wonderful for so many things. But it's not as concentrated as magnesium that you can. There are actually some amazing magnesiums. There's one in particular I like that you can soak in that feels good and just really increases your magnesium level. So lots of options, even creams.
And what about the soaking magnesium? What's that product called?
The one that I like, I met this woman, she was on my podcast, Kristen Bowen, and it's called, it's like Naturally, let me think of the name of it. Naturally, I can give it to you so you can have it.
I'll post it to your ladies.
It's great. And you can soak it in. They've done research on it, and it's really easy and great. And she also makes this magnesium cream that if you're sore,
we'll post that too. We'll post the link. Yeah, great. That's very good information for women.
And then the other thing that's critical, though, I don't want to miss, is the vitamin K2.
Yes, let's talk about
that's what takes calcium from your soft tissues and make sure it goes into the bone. So it's making sure the calcium goes into the bones, 2 parts to it, and also removing it from the soft tissues where we don't want it. And the studies done, I'd recommend 180 micrograms because that was done in this study. This was MK7, one of the, it's a natural form that's similar to that from natto, which is in Japan. But
natto is from the lipstick plant. A natto triangle.
Oh, is that true? I didn't realize that. That's interesting.
But a really important antioxidant.
They found in areas in Japan where people ate this natto, they had a significant reduction in osteoporosis and much higher bone density. But it's slimy. Yeah. It's sort of slimy. I haven't been able to eat it, so it's not. But some people, I have had patients who eat it, and if you eat natto, you don't need to have the K2.
It is. It's a Japanese delicacy. It is a seed. It's a little slimy. If you're just totally into the American culture, this is out of your comfort zone. But I don't find it unattractive or disgusting. But the good news is you can get it easily as a supplement. It's called annatto tocotrienols. And it's one of the major supplements that I use post-treatment for reducing oxidative stress, especially that caused by radiation. When you're on radiation, you do not want to take, when you're receiving radiation, you don't want to take inototocotrienols, nor should you probably eat them. But post-chemo, post-radiation, absolutely, it's a very important supplement, and it also helps to prevent breast and lung fibrosis. So it's something that we really encourage as part of a supplement protocol in my practice in my online program. So we have nutrition, we have diet, we have supplements. Now, what's the number 3 thing that a woman needs to know about what she can do for her bone health?
Now, I'm a physical therapist, and I've been working with osteoporosis for over 25 years as a physical therapist. So this is key, everybody. So key is exercise. And I think people don't realize the impact exercise has. So at all phases, the bone responds to the forces placed upon it. And so if we're not placing any forces, even regardless of what, regardless of anything, if you take a person and you put them on bed rest, they've done studies, they lose almost 1% of their bone per week. The astronauts in space are losing bone because they don't have the gravity, they don't have the force. So it's really, really important. So my suggestion, they found 2 things really cause improvement in bone density and affect our bones. So number 1 is weight bearing or impact. When you have weight going on the bones against gravity, that's number 1. That would be like walking up the stairs, dancing, anything, jumping, anything where we're getting weight through the bones against gravity. Number 1. Number 2, the resistance training. They found that resistance training, even
with those bands. Wait, let's talk about what resistance training is. It's those wide, big rubber bands.
Anything. It can be anything. So it's if I'm contracting my muscle, there's a force. So the muscle is contracting against this force and saying, hey, we need more bone here. So it's that tugging on the muscle, tugging on the bone, that force that's saying the stimulus for more bone to be produced. So, but here's the thing, it matters. It's not like you can just do a little bit, I'll lift 2 pounds here and there. It really makes a difference. There was a recent study done in 2014 called the Lift More controlled study. And they took people who even had fractures. So these were people with osteoporosis, and postmenopausal women. And they found that high impact training and resistance training really increased bone density. This was the highest increases they had seen. They had found 2.9% in the lumbar spine for people that were doing this program.
It's a lot.
Versus the same control group had lost 1.2%.
That's a lot. Big difference.
It's a huge difference. And then 3 years out, they looked at some of the people who continued with this, and they had 8.2% in their lumbar spine. So the thing is, though, what you need to know is this study was done, it was a controlled study where they were observed, because I'm not saying go out and start lifting heavy weights because you could really hurt yourself. Mm-hmm. So my suggestion is, if you have the opportunity, the number 1 best thing, look, any exercise is better than nothing. So anything you do is going to be good. And
so you have to find something that works for you. So if everybody's telling you to go swimming and you don't have access to a pool or you hate swimming, it's not going to work for you. So this is the critical thing that we all need to know, is we have to find something that's a positive form of movement and possible now during our stay-at-home COVID winter horrible weather restrictions.
So I couldn't agree with you more, Carol, because if you're standing on the treadmill, I have to do this for my bones. Think of the chemicals. I teach happiness too. So think of all the negativity going through your body.
I hate this. I hate the treadmill, but I'm doing it I hate it, but I'm doing it. That is not good energy.
There's a million types of exercises. You can dance. Turn on your favorite music and start dancing. There's so many things. There's Tai Chi, which I love. Qigong. You can do different types of Pilates. I do want to make sure I get to the contraindications, though. And so there's so many things you can do. I couldn't agree with you more about finding something you love. And there's so many options. But if you have the opportunity to see a physical therapist, they will look at you. They will be able to, make sure that your posture and everything's okay. Because if you want to do exercises really in good alignment so that you don't hurt anything. Or so that if you can, and usually it's covered by insurance. If you can see
that's an important part. If you have Medicare or other insurance and you were working with an oncologist or even a GP, and you say, I'm an elderly woman, can't even say it properly. I'm an older woman and I want to do osteoporosis prevention. It will be covered by insurance, a few sessions with a physical therapist. So I encourage everybody to take Margie up on that great suggestion.
Even if you're a younger person and you've had chemo, any of the risk factors, and you have to ask the doctor, though. A lot of times they're not going to suggest it because they don't really realize that there's such a difference in exercise. They just may not know, but there is. So if you can ask, I don't know exactly what to do. I don't want to hurt myself. Would it be okay to get a referral to physical therapist?
Right.
So then they can really get you on a custom program so that you're strengthening as much as you can, because you really do want to use at least twice a week. Just use the weights that are appropriate without causing any injury. So I think that's the resistance, the weight bearing, putting forces through your bones against gravity is really important. And if you don't have osteoporosis, jumping's great, as prevention. If you're going through chemo and you don't have any osteoporosis, jumping, doing things that just put forces through the bones are going to be so helpful.
And how many minutes a day do we need to do this for our best impact?
It's not a matter of minutes. It's a matter of, they found, 20 to 30 minutes twice a week doing strength training was very helpful. In the trial that they did, it was 8 months. It was 30 minutes twice a week of supervised exercise where they did impact and they did the strength training, but it was intense. They did, again, things I would not suggest people do by themselves.
Well, you can't start from 0 and go to 10 right away. I often tell the story of I was working with a woman who came to see me 10 years after she'd finished treatment, 10 years. And because of her treatment, she began to feel worse and worse and worse. And by the time she came to see me, she was barely able to get off the couch, more or less take care of her family. And it took 2 months of just changing her nutrition and giving her what she ate and giving her the healing smoothie and supplements. And then she started out with 5 minutes every day on the treadmill. And then after a week, it went up to 10 minutes every day. And then it increased. And then she said, I really like to ride bikes. Now, I personally get on a bike and it hurts my rear end so bad I can't do it. But she loved it. So the long story short is a year after she started treatment with me, she completed a bike ride on Highway 1 in California, which is up and down. It's intense, as part of this LA bike ride for breast cancer, 25 miles a day, 4 days in a row. And that was, true. Yeah, just a year later, she could not get, a year before, she was not able to get off the sofa. So it's what I call couch syndrome.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I see so many couch potatoes, and then they find out they have osteoporosis and they have to exercise. Well, what happens is a couple things. Number one, they start once you start exercising, you feel empowered too. Your strength, especially with strength training, your strength increases. You're lifting things. It's the best feeling. It's just, and endorphins. There's just nothing better once you get into an exercise program. It's just, I'm always amazed. I have 80-year-olds who are so impressive what they're doing, but people started, just like you said, you can start from doing nothing. And the funny thing is the bones respond to the forces placed upon it. So if you're a person that's done nothing, very minimal amount of exercise, maybe just lifting your arm, for you will be more than you're used to. And that itself can help increase bone density. So there's so many great things about exercise, and it doesn't matter where you start. And it's amazing because when you make this a habit, people have more energy. Every single part of their life improves. So it's really such a win-win situation. But I wanted to make sure I tell them about some of the precautions because some people don't know about this. If you have osteoporosis or even osteopenia, which is what is
osteopenia?
Yeah,
a lot of women don't know
what they decide is they look at your bone density and they compare that to a 30-year-old, and they look at standard deviations away from that. So that's where if it's minus 2.5 or more, they call it osteoporosis. If it's anything minus 1 or greater, it's osteopenia. So that's just the terminology. Again, 2 people can have the same bone density and one can fracture and one won't. So it's not the end all be all in terms of, giving you all the information. But Wait, where was I? I lost my thought on this.
Things to be cautious
Oh,
about.
yes, this is so very, very important. So a study was done at the Mayo Clinic years ago, and they'll never repeat this. And they looked at what people were doing, people who had osteoporosis, and they looked at fracture rate over a 1 to 6 year period of time. So they looked at people doing things like backward bend, really strengthening their back muscles. And they found they had a 16% fracture rate. Then
That's a lot, isn't it?
No. Wait till you hear the
okay.
rest of the story. That was great. That's what we want. Compared to, they looked at people who were doing forward bending only, so rounding, touching their toes, sit-ups, 89% fracture rate. But they looked at the combination, they had 53, and the control group, who wasn't doing any exercise, had a 67% fracture rate. The reason is, if you think of the spine, if you feel your back, you can feel those bones. That's not where the fractures occur. They occur in the front of the spine. And so what happens is when we bend forward, we're compressing the front of the spine. And that's where it's the weakest. So it makes sense. So what we don't want to do, it's not that you can't do things. You just don't want to round out. You don't want to bend from the waist. So what people learn to do is bend from the hips and knees.
Keeping your back straight.
Yes, keeping a lengthened spine. Exactly. So that's number one. Number two is extremes of motion. So extreme rotation and extreme side bending. And then if I can give you, Carol, the National Osteoporosis Foundation has 2 amazing sheets on safe yoga and safe Pilates, and they go into exactly what you should do and what you shouldn't do and which motion. So I'll give that to you as well.
Okay, well, I'll share that with all of my community. So don't worry, ladies. I'll either email it to you all or I'll post it here, but I'll make sure everybody gets this.
Because that's really helpful. But anyway, so those are the key things, because I've seen people that are standing on a treadmill and they were rounded too much and it caused a fracture. So people don't realize that. What we want to do is extension postures, and not that you can't do yoga and Pilates. Love yoga and Pilates. Wonderful. But you just tell the instructor you want neutral postures and the extension. You're just avoiding those forward bending rounded postures.
So if you do like a rounded posture to touch your, hands to the floor, and then you come back up and then you do a back one, is that okay? I mean,
no, because of that study recommending that if you bend, if you have osteoporosis. If you don't have it, it's a different story. But if someone who has osteoporosis, because the front of the vertebrae may already be compressed or might even be wedge shaped a little bit, we don't want to put extra force there. So you would bend from the hips and knees instead. You would not do a rounded back if you have osteoporosis.
Okay. And what is your thought about taking let me ask the question for you. What do you think about taking the prescription anti-osteoporosis medications, Fosamax, Bonex, all of that?
Obviously to me, that's my very last priority. And I do work with conventional doctors as well. So if people are on it, I will still work with them.
Of course.
But that's certainly my approach is look at root cause. And again, if it's from a cancer treatment, then there's things that you can do to build it up. But I believe first figure out what's going on, what may be causing, what may be losing the bone. And that would not be my first approach. I mean, I think there's a lot of side effects from these medications, and I've worked with people with the side effects. So that's not my approach. And there's so many reasons that I found that people have osteoporosis. It's unbelievable, ranging from inflammation, food sensitivities.
Right.
So to me, it would be such a shame to put someone on a medication. And that's typically what's done. You have minus 2.5 on your bone density. Boom.
Yes,
and they don't mean harm. They really don't mean harm. They just don't know that there's other, that's what they've been taught.
Right. I know.
The treatment for us.
It's a different approach towards health and disease.
It's
symptom A gets drug B. We don't look underneath,
exactly. So my approach is always look underneath the nutrients, the root causes, heavy metals, even. There's so many reasons, and do the exercise. I think the exercise is key, and people can gain bone from the exercise. So I think, at all aspects. So that's not my treatment in terms of, but certain people have been on certain, I certainly don't want anyone fracturing. So I think I do believe also, though, you need to work with someone. I don't think every person I see has some type of practitioner doing testing, doing things, because you don't want to forget about it and then have a fracture. You really want to make sure that you are doing something, if there's lots of different things. So does that answer the question?
Yes, totally. Totally. So any other words of wisdom that you want to share with the audience? This has been so informative, and it's such an important topic. Thank you so much for taking time in your
The one thing
schedule.
I was going to just tell them, two things just to know about. There's something called TBS, which is trabecular bone scoring. So if you're getting a bone density, you can also, some places have, it's TBS, as I said, trabecular bone scoring. It's software option, and they can see the quality of the bone.
That's an important concept. I didn't know about that. Thank you for letting me know.
A lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, because you can have, poor bone strength, or the density, but yet the quality is really good. And that's where your nutrition, which you teach so well, Carol, but, making sure you have good vitamin C and protein and just a healthy diet, it's going to really make a big difference for that. And number one. Number two, I just wanted to mention there is something called a low intensity vibration unit.
Okay.
And that's just something to know about, especially, and it's a very low frequency. It's 0.4. It's 0.4 G, and it has 30 hertz, but they found and I do this every single day, 10 minutes on this unit. And what it does, it takes the stem cells, the mesenchymal stem cells, and instead of turning into fat, they turn into bone. So they've really had some good research. They did all the research on NASA with the astronauts. It's something that if someone really has a low level of activity, or even for people who don't, but it's just something else that you can do that's sort of a win-win situation. There's really no negatives to it. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
Okay, and we'll post a link. I'll post that link also on the Facebook page. So people, if you're interested in finding out more information about that and how much it costs and where to get it, Margie will provide that to you through the Facebook group, through our link. Okay.
Great. And I think the big thing is if you have a diagnosis of osteoporosis, I think the most important thing is not to worry. It's sort of like telling you, okay, this happens to my bones, but when you do good things for your bones, you're going to do good things for everything. So everything's going to get better. So I think it's not to be, oh no, okay, let's take action and do all the things that can empower your bones. And by doing that, everything gets better. So, and that's what I've seen. I've seen such wonderful things that people find out. They don't need to be afraid, because there's a lot that can be done. And, people live very healthy and even better because they're doing this great exercise and stress reduction, all these great things, and eating well, which is so important.
I think what you just said is really important for the group and the community, that it's not like your health is here and your bone health is over here. I mean, and I always talk about this, everything is interconnected, our body, mind, and spirit, and every aspect of what we do in our life, our nutrition, our supplements, our sleep, our stress. Really, most people's stress right now between COVID and the holidays is off the chart. So I just have here, Sheena asked, is there a contradiction for the vibration plate devices for cancer? I've been seeing some cautionary comments against it. Any thoughts?
Yeah, they've done different studies. No, they have not found that there's any problem at all. But in the link I can give you, it goes right to the people who manufacture it, who've done the research. So they'll answer. If you have any questions at all, they can answer it. And they've done research on it and know. And even if people have like total joints, it's not contraindicated. But they'll answer that exactly. Not this one. The thing is, it's not the same as the real shaking. It's not. That is not good for your bones. And they've done studies that's dangerous. So I'll give you the episode too, where the person who created it speaks about it. So if you want to learn more.
Sheena, I haven't heard anything about vibration plates being contraindicated.
This isn't the same vibration plate that you might be thinking about in the gym. This is very, very different. This is low intensity. It's not at all the same.
And Sheena, glad you were here. Really, thanks for your question. Okay, well, this is just one of many, bringing in my friends, colleagues, and experts to share their knowledge and wealth of information in a very positive, affirmative, empowering way with all of you in my Facebook group and my private community and my online program. And it's just such a wonderful way of getting a really important information out to everyone. If you're not on my email list, which I really want to encourage everybody to join, because that's where I'm sending out like links to Margie's programs and emails.
On the posture exercise.
Yes, we're going to be sharing all of that through email, and also we'll post some of it here on Facebook. But I really want to encourage everybody who's watching, if you're not on my email list, just put your email in here in Facebook, and I'll send you an opt-in. You have to give permission and say that you want to be on the email list. You don't get spam with me. It's just information that relates to your optimal health and especially breast cancer. So, Margie, it's so great to have you. And really, this is such important information. I love that you shared with us, especially taking super busy holiday time and to hang out with us for a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be posting the links for all of Margie's programs. And thank you, Sheena. And we'll be sharing more. And so we'll be following up with this topic. It's really important. Bone health is on the mind of every woman with breast cancer, post-breast cancer treatment, or just a woman who's the menopausal age, such as myself. We all need to take care of our bones.
Thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate it, being with this community.
Love to have you. Happy holidays. And this is Carol Lourie signing off for now, and there'll be more later. Bye for now.